independent filmmaker that cannot do an explosion scene, now they could do it with AI.
Welcome to Hollywood Reprogrammed, the podcast that explores how independent filmmaking is being revolutionized by artificial intelligence. I'm Maya, and with me today is Khoa, a director, producer, and all-around filmmaking powerhouse who's been navigating the indie world for years. He's the one who first showed me just how much things are changing, and frankly, how much the old rules just don't apply anymore. Khoa?
Hey, thanks, Maya. That was actually a really good introduction.
Glad you like it. So, what was the biggest hurdle you faced early on that you think AI could have solved or is now solving? Something that really felt impossible before?
You know what? I think that, in my opinion, AI is solving your logistics. It's solving the creatives. Not just the creatives in like taking people's jobs away. It's solving the creatives where people never had an opportunity to create big creatives and now has an opportunity to create something that's interesting for the people that want to see something that's great. You know, I really feel like, you know, you're going to have different audiences for different things, but like an independent filmmaker that cannot do an explosion scene, now they could do it with AI, you know, and how you do it, how you execute it, that's going to be up to the talent and to the creative. But now with like just a prompt and some vision, you could create something that would have cost millions to do, and so much logistics and so much safety that now you could just do it in the box. I mean, what are your thoughts?
That's a really interesting point. It's not about replacing creatives, but expanding access to creative possibilities. It's leveling the playing field in terms of what's technically feasible. So the skill shifts from, say, orchestrating a massive practical effects team to mastering the art of the prompt and then knowing how to refine and integrate the AI-generated elements. It sounds like it frees you up to focus on the storytelling itself, rather than being bogged down in logistical nightmares. But does that also create a different kind of challenge? Like, how do you maintain a consistent vision when you're collaborating with a non-human partner?
That's a good question. I feel like it's a not just collaborating with a non-human partner. I think it is about making sure that AI becomes a partner with the filmmaker. Yeah, I feel like AI needs to become a partner with you.
So it's not just a tool, but an extension of your creative process, almost like another member of the crew, but one that operates in a completely different way.
100%. 100%. I think that it's I think people gotta realize that it's not a tool anymore. That AI is getting to the point where they are your partner, your host, your confidant, and someone that has a lot of more knowledge, that might have a lot more knowledge to you around the world, but then they rely on the humans to still execute the vision of things.
That's a pretty powerful shift in perspective. If AI is a confidant, does that change the ethical considerations too? Like, are there responsibilities that come with collaborating with something that possesses a vast amount of knowledge and potentially biases? What kind of safeguards do filmmakers need to be thinking about?
Wow.
That's a big question, I know.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I think that I feel like filmmakers, yeah, I mean, from copyrights, ethics, morals, you know, I really feel like there need to be some safeguards. But I also feel like by putting these guardrails in place, that it does restrict the creativity that happens, right? And I get that AI is, you know, we really got to think about this. AI is more than just a creative tool, is more than just a logistical tool or whatever it is. It's, if you really know how to use AI and you know how to, how to communicate it, you know how to use how the tools are made, and you know how tools are being used for it, and then you identify a problem that you actually have, that AI could actually solve those issues that you couldn't have before, and because you needed to raise money with it. But your investment now is all in knowledge and your know-hows. And so I feel like your ethics come in from what you actually think. If you think it's wrong to do certain things, then it might be wrong. If you're stealing someone else's, I guess, scripts or someone else's ideas, then that's an ethical thing across the board. But if you're using someone else's ideas and then you embellish on it using AI and making it better and stronger, what we call quote unquote remixing it to something else. Now we're in a gray area, and I really feel like we've been remixing in society. That's how we grew our society. We have to learn from each other in order to grow. And what inspired us in music, what inspired us in some scenes and how it gets done, inspires a different type of storytelling. And we're always borrowing each other's ideas and embellishing it and doing something else. So I feel like it could get into this really gray area. But in my opinion, you know what? It is what it is, and I feel like it is going to move society forward, and it is moving society forward, and I feel like people need to understand that.
That's a really thoughtful take. You're right. It's not a simple yes or no. It's about intent, about remixing versus outright theft, and about acknowledging the sources of inspiration. And you're touching on a huge point about access to knowledge. And if AI democratizes creativity, does it also democratize the potential for ethical breaches? I mean, if anyone can generate something that looks convincing, how do we ensure accountability and originality?
I think we have to protect creators' input 100%, but I also think that creators have to be lenient on creative input.
Okay, so a balance between protecting original work and being open to the possibilities of remixing and reinterpretation. But how do you even define original work in a world where AI can generate novel content? Do we need new legal frameworks to address this? And if so, what should those look like? It feels like the legal system is lagging far behind the technology.
It is. It is definitely lagging, far behind it. And I mean, I think that the can of worms has been opened. The Pandora's box is open, and AI wouldn't be where it is right now if it didn't do the research and was able to scrape all this information. I could say that anyone that's using ChatGPT, Claude, and all these other tools, they are 100% benefiting from other people's work, 100%, right? And I'm sure these AI companies are going through lawsuits and everything else. However, it's moving society forward, and the government hasn't shut it down. There hasn't been, people on the streets with, and burning down buildings because they don't agree to this. People are using it for their own benefits, and they're accelerating. And yeah, I mean, I feel like people will complain if it hurts them, but yet they still use it for themselves, and in turn, they are also hurting other people because they're using it. So, what gives?
You're hitting on such a fascinating paradox, right? Everyone's benefiting, but at what cost? It's almost like we've collectively decided that the potential benefits outweigh the ethical concerns, or maybe we just haven't fully grappled with the consequences yet. And it feels like the legal system is playing catch up, trying to figure out how to regulate something that's evolving at warp speed. What role do you think filmmakers have in navigating this ethical landscape? Should they be actively advocating for regulations or focusing on responsible AI use within their own projects?
I mean, I think that right now, the way the current state of filmmaking is, they need to not think about regulations. They need to think about how to make a great movie, how to make it really great that it could actually put people's butts in the box office and make a great movie, right? Because that's what's really lacking at the moment is that independent filmmakers, majority of independent filmmakers, are not creating the content that is watchable. If you don't create watchable movies, nobody's gonna buy it. Yet those are the same filmmakers that's actually complaining that they're not making any money. And they wonder why, and they will blame other people that they can't get it distributed, and they don't blame themselves for making a bad movie because they don't know it's a bad movie. And so, and but who am I to say what's a bad movie or not? Right? I didn't know Sharknado was going to be a something that's going to make $300 million. Who would have thought that Paranormal Activity was going to kill it in the box office, a shot on some camcorder idea, right? And with the genius marketing. I mean, so I'm not there to judge that, but I do know that when you look at the industry, that 99% of filmmakers do not make any money, or they lose everything. They lose their investments, and they're not taking responsibility on trying to get the money back. They move on to trying to make another movie, and what we call is, what I would call that this is the industry of new investors that's always coming back with, always trying to find investors because they always burn their other investor. Then I'm thinking like filmmakers has the ability right now to understand the industry because they got all the data they want. They could understand the marketplace, and they could certainly make better movies by understanding the technology. Now, I think that that's what should be the focus on. And they're not focusing on revitalizing and thinking about how to solve issues on how to make a movie that could be sustainable.
Wow. That's a really blunt but incredibly honest assessment. It's a harsh truth that making a technically innovative or ethically sound film doesn't matter if nobody wants to watch it. So the focus has to be on quality, on storytelling, on actually connecting with an audience. But it also sounds like you think AI could be a key to breaking that cycle, allowing filmmakers to create more compelling content with limited resources. Is that right? Do you see it as a way to raise the overall quality of any filmmaking, or just a tool to make bad movies slightly less bad?
Look, I mean, you raised a point, and yeah, I mean, if you're not, look, I believe that everyone gets a shot. I got 2 kids, and I don't know what kind of talent they they have in their bones at the moment. They're only 5 and 6 years old, but I do know that if they want to go out and make a movie, I'm not going to stop them, and nobody else should stop them making a movie. And I just know that if they want to try to think about doing a great movie, they have to work hard and think and learn and analyze past movies to see what was good or bad. They got to think about it, and they got to be consistent, and they got to be creating. A lot of people don't go in that direction, and they think that I never made they think they made 1 or 2 short films, and they're ready to go and make a feature film and be Spielberg. And sometimes it happens, but in my opinion, that's lightning in the bottle, and I feel like filmmakers need to have this sense of ability to want to tell these stories consistently, keep making it better because there's always room to get better, but learn all these tools from AI and post-production tools, and do the things that they want as an indie to make it happen. And a lot of them are not like that. A director just don't want to learn the cinematography. Some directors love the cinema, that don't want to learn how to communicate with an actor. And I feel like if you want to be a great filmmaker, you actually have to put the work in and do as much as you can to, whatever you can do to be successful in this industry, when it's super, super, super hard industry to be in. I mean, I'm not sure I'll veer off the questions, but I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
That's beautiful, honestly. That belief in giving everyone a shot, but also emphasizing the importance of hard work and dedication. And you're right, it's not just about technical skills. It's about a holistic understanding of filmmaking, from cinematography to acting to storytelling. It's about being a true craftsman. You're essentially saying AI can be a powerful tool, but it can't replace passion, vision, and a willingness to learn. And that ultimately is what will make a film truly connect with an audience. It's about the human element, isn't it? Even when you're using artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it is. It is about the human element. And I mean, I got into this film industry in 2009, and I knew that this was something that was going to be a long road for me. But I believed that making a film, telling stories, was the ultimate way to communicate to the world. And I always felt in my bones that you can't take successes to the grave with you. You can't take the gold with you wherever it is. But what you could do is what you have to do is what you leave behind for people, what it actually means to leave something great and something that's meaningful behind. And I thought that telling stories, doing something that's artful, that's memorable, is the equivalent being write something, on the stone, like was done back in the days. And I feel like no amount of technology would ever be able to replace, a great story. Really, at the end of the day, right? You have to use technology to accelerate and create some visual elements that is for today's audiences, but you still got to be able to tell a great story. And you could do all the spectacles all you want, but you have a bad story, it's a bad story. And I live for the story, and I live to tell the truth. And I want to be able to tell the truth in an entertaining way, whether it's through a horror film, a rom-com, a biopic, whatever that is going to be. But that's what I live for. And I want filmmakers to know that, especially in this first episode, that they need to find their own truth. That people that are out there that's just chasing something that is unauthentic, like they want to chase the fame, they want to chase the celebrity status, they want to chase the ego, whether it's catching girls or catching guys, or they want to impress their parents or impress their friends, and this industry is it's very easy to get lost in, because it's so easy to jump onto the red carpet. You got hundreds of photographers that want to take your picture because you did something that is hard to do, and it's easy to get lost in that space, because it becomes like, oh my God, I'm something, I am something. But that at the end of the day, filmmakers got to understand that you are something by creating it. You don't need to go after the spectacles and the red carpets and the recognition. The idea is that you're creating a story that resonates with people, and that's the part that really matters the most. And I think that AI tools and all these tools that's out there to allow you to do that type of stuff, could really should be the driving force.
That's incredibly moving, Khoa. That's a really powerful message. It's not about the tools, it's about the intention behind them. It's about using technology to amplify your own voice, to tell stories that matter, and to connect with people on a deeper level. And you're right, that's what endures. That's what leaves a lasting impact. I think that's a fantastic core message for this podcast. I think people will really respond to that. That's a really good note to end on, actually. It's kind of perfect.
Well, Maya, thank you so much for our first episode together. I think it was wonderful. I like to leave a call to action. And every episode should have a call to action. First, guys, everybody who's listening, the most important thing here is that we're trying to build a community. And we need to build a community of people that actually cares about this medium, filmmaking, music, fashion, anything that involves that, right? And we need you to listen, and we need you to talk about it and engage. And if you want us to keep doing this and do more of this, that you have to be able to download the podcast, be supportive, join the community. All the links and everything below. Follow the Instagram, the YouTube, subscribe, do all of that. Just follow it. If you actually care about the medium, because that's exactly what this podcast is all about. There's not enough content about this. People don't talk about it. It's hard. Yeah, you could straight up YouTube it, and there's nothing coming out of it. You TikTok it. It's like 2 or 3 year old content. Nobody's talking about it, and they're not even credible sources. And the one that actually has the information, they don't talk about it and they gate it, or they don't want to do it. And so here it is, guys. This is what we're trying to do, and we want to eventually bring on more guests to talk about it and really break this thing wide open. And that's the call to action. That's the harsh truth. And Maya, you're amazing, and I look forward to the next episode. Thank you, everybody, and see you next time. Till then, stay positive, be creative, and be bold. Talk to you soon.